I would rather have a small following on whatever platform, but of my core audience instead of vanity metrics of friends and
Mhm.
family and people who have
Okay.
no interest or need in the services you offer.
Welcome to Biz Help for You, the show that saves you the expensive learning curve by providing advice from industry experts in every facet of the entrepreneurial journey. Too many small businesses collapse. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20% fail within their first year, and less than 35% make it to their 10th anniversary. The goal of this podcast is to change that statistic. So if you're interested in learning more to be a successful entrepreneur, tune in today.
Welcome to Biz Help for You with Candy Messer. In today's episode, we're going to discuss how to outperform competitors by using powerful tools to attract qualified leads, boost visibility, and increase ROI. If you are struggling to bring in new business, tune in to learn more. So, James, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to this conversation too. Who doesn't want to improve their ROI, right? And have more contacts coming in who need our services? But before I get into questions I have for you today, I would love for you just to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So, James Donovan, I live in Eastern Canada, but I do like to spend my winters down in Central and South America because it's way too cold in Canada and too dark. And I actually have a digital marketing company for the last 5.5, almost 6 years. And we specialize in working with accounting firms, fractional CFOs, tax planners, and bookkeepers, helping them get more eyeballs on their brand so they can in turn make more money.
Perfect. Well, I know we're going to be talking about what you call local service ads, abbreviated LSAs. So when we're saying LSA throughout this episode, people will know what it is. But some people may not have ever even heard of that. So can you explain exactly what that means?
Absolutely. LSA, and I'm so happy you brought this up. It's one of the most, for me anyways, at least in the accounting space, a a secret that so many firms are not aware of. It's very popular with home service companies. So just think when your sink or your toilet breaks at home, what are you doing? The first thing, assuming you don't know how to fix it or you don't have a friend or
Google,
family member, you're going to
Google
Google.
somebody. Yep.
Plumber near me,
Mhm.
electrician near me, whatever it is for the service you need. And you're looking at the map and you're looking at reviews and you're calling the first person who shows up and who answers the phone. You're already aware you need it fixed. You're ready to spend money. That is also available for accounting firms to use on Google. It's a pay per call model. So unlike your Google AdWords, where you're sending people to a site and you're hoping they click on it and then you're hoping they fill out a form and you have your big funnel and all the fancy marketing stuff people sell you. This is strictly someone just calls you because they know they need your service. I love it. The results we're seeing with clients for it is so cool, and I think every firm across the US should be using it.
Mhm. Well, I mean, that sounds great, right? But some people might be thinking, well, like, why should I spend money on that and have that as part of my marketing when there's social media? I could have my website, I could optimize that with SEO. I could attract people there. Why should I then use these local service ads?
Absolutely. So your website is only as good as the people who go and look at it and take action. And local service ads is all search based. So as long as you're there when people are searching for a problem they know they have, you're going to significantly jump in front of your competitors. Social media is great, but your content is only as good as the audience you have to see it. That's why
Mhm.
people should use local service ads or paid ads in general, but local service ads.
Mhm. Well, so true analytics, and how things are kind of shown to who you think is your audience, but often you could have, thousands of people who like your page, but maybe a couple hundred see it. And out of those couple hundred, maybe most of them don't even need what you're offering.
Yeah, absolutely. So many people they speak about, oh, I post a lot on social media. Okay, awesome. But it's really just friends and family who are supporting you. They're
Hmm.
not going to be buying your thing. So
Hmm.
I would rather have a small following on whatever platform, but of my core audience instead of vanity metrics of friends and
Hmm.
family and people who have
Okay.
no interest or need in the services you offer.
Hmm. Exactly. Well, for someone who might just be starting out, maybe they had never heard of this and now, they're hearing of it and they want to get started, but they don't know actually how to begin. What would be the first steps to actually creating a campaign that would bring in those prospects?
Yeah, if you're just getting started out and the budget's not there where you're looking to outsource it, I would honestly recommend checking out some tutorials on YouTube. That would probably be the easiest way to see visually how to walk through how to set this up. It's not extremely difficult to set up, but there are some nuances once it's set up in order for it to be successful.
Mhm.
It's relatively easy to get set up. And then obviously there's a lot of hoops to jump through with Google. If anyone's ever verified their Google business profile or Google My Business, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. But once you're
Mhm.
through all of them, it's great. And you don't really have to worry about it again. The same applies with local service ads. They want to make sure you are a real business, you are licensed, you're insured, because they're driving calls to your business and
Mhm.
they make money when they generate you calls. So they
Mhm.
they want to make sure all of that's real. Um, yeah, if you're just getting started, I would say probably use ChatGPT as like your um what do you call it, the internet browser, to kind of use that as your search engine, sorry, to walk through the steps, or just try to find a video on YouTube if it's not something you're looking to outsource.
Mhm. Well, and you were just talking like Google wants to verify that you're like real and that you have insurance and stuff. So do you have to fill out like an application, or like how do you go about if you've already set up a profile that you exist, but they don't necessarily know all the things about your business? How do they verify that?
Yeah, so Google My Business and local service ads are two separate profiles. They
Mm.
speak to one another, but they are considered two separate profiles. Google is looking for, verification that you are real. So you are uploading documents, whether it's I forget exactly what it looks for now. I haven't set one up in a bit. My team helps out with that, but there's definitely information from your EIN, proof
Mhm.
that you are legally allowed to file taxes in the US because it falls under the tax specialist category, even though there's a
Mhm.
couple services that aren't directly related to tax. So you need that verification. You need and proof of insurance for your business, and there might be one other one. But yeah, I mean there are hoops, but if you have these things ready to go, it shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes to get the account set up. It's just many people, they start it and they
Mhm.
don't see the project all the way through.
Right, because I'll get to it later, right? And then they forget, or other things take, precedence because especially this time of year, if you're talking to accountants and CPAs, right? They just have kind of come up for air after
Yes. Yes.
taxes, and then there's extensions, and a lot of places have extensions also because of natural disasters. So like the tax season has actually just begun, right? Oh, but anyway, that's a little divergent little thing. So
No, you're good.
anyway, I would love for you though to talk about the differences then between using this local search ad and traditional digital ads, because we've heard about different ads too that you could have. Like you said, there's pay per click or different things too. And of course there are ads on social media as well. So I would love for you maybe to just tell us the benefits and like why are they different? How are they different? For us to consider which one is the right one to use.
Yeah. Well, the easiest way to think about it is people are already calling in or they're already searching because they're problem aware, which is
Mhm.
half the battle is already solved. Unlike running ads on YouTube or Facebook or doing outreach on LinkedIn, they're all great and they all work in different ways depending on your service. But if you're eligible for local service ads under the categories they offer, I
Mhm.
love it because if my service, I could have people phoning in all day long who are saying, I know I need what you have to offer. How can you help?
Mhm.
I mean, that's everyone's dream, isn't it? You're just receiving inbound calls of people who already know they have a problem
Mhm.
instead of you trying to create an ad or a post to get them thinking about a problem they may or may not have.
Mhm.
That's one reason. The second, the ad placement on Google, it's actually the highest, it's the best real estate you're going to find. So it ends up getting posted higher than pay-per-click ads. It
Mhm.
gets posted higher than the organic map pack. So when you search for a business and the map shows up, it
Mhm.
gets higher ranking than all of the organic SEO that people spend thousands of dollars on, and they wait 12, 48 months in order to see an impact, you can just cut ahead of the line right away by running
Mhm.
local service ads.
Okay. So what is the cost then? Because I've also heard about pay-per-click. And of course, if you have a keyword that is very popular, it's much more expensive than something that's random, but then somebody might not be entering that keyword, right? So I'd love for you to maybe explain what the cost is. How does it actually work? Is it still you pay when they click, or you just pay for the ad whether they click or not? Like, how does that
Yep.
actually work?
So the nice thing about LSA is it's a pay per call model. So your ad could be, and you get to choose how many hours of the day you want your ad visible. You get to choose where you want your ad visible, and the services that you want to receive inbound calls for.
Mhm.
Meaning, if somebody calls you outside of your serviceable hours or when your ad is displayed, you can dispute that with Google, and likely you're going to get credited back for that call. Or if somebody calls in for a service that you don't offer that's not on your ad, you can dispute that with Google, or you can rank it really as a poor lead. They used to have
Mhm.
disputes, they don't anymore, and you're likely getting credited back. But yes, you're only paying per inbound call. So even if your ad is showing for 5 days straight, you don't get a call, doesn't cost you any money. Unlike
Mm.
on
Yeah.
Facebook or other platforms, you could set it up, get nothing all day long, but it costs you because they're a business.
Mhm.
Local service ads, they search for you, a tracking number shows up that looks like it's your Google business profile. That's how Google gets paid, because they want to track the calls, and then
Mhm.
that will just forward to your phone, your front desk, however that works.
Mhm.
The other piece to it, which is kind of cool, they don't give out the specific timeline, but you have about 20 to 30 seconds of a buffer period before you're charged by Google. So we've had clients where they might not have calls that are charged, and then they call the client back and they end up closing a deal and they never paid for that lead. Other
Mm.
times, you can disqualify someone really quick to ensure you're not going to get charged. So there are some strategies that go into it, obviously. I mean, if it was super easy, everyone would do it. And then what
Mhm.
we see cost wise is roughly about $70 to $100 cost per call. So it is obviously way more expensive than cost per click or
Mhm.
cost per lead on other platforms. But it's really important to note that cost per click, all you're paying for is someone who clicked on your site. Like, you don't have any information from them yet. A lead, they just submitted a form. It might not even be the right stuff, and now you're still
Mhm.
working to get them on the phone.
Mhm.
Local service ads, you have them on the phone with their intent. They reached out to you. The ball's in your court. To
Mhm.
me, that's worth its weight in gold. So I
Mhm.
would happily pay $70 to $100, depending on your service, for those calls all day long.
Mhm. So, is there a way to tailor it so only like those ideal clients that you want to target see it, and that's the only people that are calling? Or like, how do you make sure that you're not getting these calls that really turn out to not be the right person for you?
Yeah, you will get some tire kickers. It's all search based. So there's no option with LSA to just have businesses call in, because
Mhm.
we can't stop an individual jumping on Google and searching, accounting support near me, or payroll
Mhm.
or tax prep near me. So there is going to be a learning curve with it and training the algorithm specific to your account. And you are going to have to spend a bit of money to
Mhm.
probably take in a couple calls that you didn't want to have. That's where some sales ability comes in, where what can I squeeze out of this opportunity?
Mhm.
Can I make something of this inbound call that I've paid for? Do I disqualify everyone really quick? But that's why the rating of the leads is so important with local service ads, to tell Google, hey, this call was really bad, and you leave your
Mhm.
notes. It's really bad for this reason. I don't want this. This call was
Mhm.
awesome. I want more of these. But it does take time. You're not going to have an optimized ad right out of the gate.
Mhm.
That's just part of the game when it comes to paid advertising. You do have to be willing to spend a little bit of money to work through that learning phase, to then
Mhm.
get on the other side of it where things just work really well for you.
Mhm. So I do know a lot of people. So you were saying you're focused really on CPAs and accounting and things like that too. And so a lot of us in the industry too, when someone reaches out, we have like a questionnaire first that we want to get some information, make sure like the service we offer are a great fit and they're, the right type of client for us too. Like if we don't do construction, we want to make sure they're not in construction, or etc. Is there a way that they could actually have to submit that first, or no matter what, they're calling in and then you would have to kind of backtrack and say, well, normally we ask for this information, can you fill this out? Like, how does that part work?
With local service ads, yeah, there's no way to filter, again, because it's all search based. So you can't, and there's no copy that goes into the ad. It's really just like your headshot, a tracking number that links back to your business, and it looks like your Google profile and it has your reviews. So on that front, it's very basic. Super impactful for the level of intent you get, but our suggestion with clients is, if you're running local service ads, you need to be a little bit more open-minded of who you're looking to work with, or who you can work with. If you're super strict on your niche, like you said, if it's just construction, probably not the best play to use local service ads, because you will get a variety of inbound calls from different types of business owners and or individuals. If you are open to other industries, by all means, it works really well. And then it's just a matter of asking those questions when someone calls in. So again, if you're only open to construction, I probably just wouldn't do it. If you're open to anything else, have your intake form ready. So someone calls in, hey, this is James. Thanks for reaching out to ABC Accounting. What can I help you with today? And as you start going through that, use your 20 to 30 seconds to try to qualify them first. Maybe it's, hey, is this for personal or business? And if you're not doing anything personal, sorry, we can't help. And you got to be ruthless and hang up. Sounds aggressive, but if you don't want to get charged, just hang up.
Right.
But after that, yeah, just walk them through that process. So you're going through the booking process, you're going through the discovery, start asking some of those questions, get their level of intent while you have them on the phone, get the call booked in. And now when you have your consultation, you have all the ammunition you need, you know where their pains are, so you can tap into that while you're on that next call, depending on what your sales process looks like.
So is there a way that the small business owner can tailor the message for these, ads to actually attract those clients that are more ideal than just someone who's just doing a random search, so that if they see whatever certain words are, that they'll know that's for them or not for them?
Not as much with local service ads, because you have 12 subcategories that you're choosing under the tax specialist category, for lack of better words. What you can do on your Google business profile under your articles or your updates is craft your articles speaking to, say, tax strategies for dental firms in Boston, or tax reduction strategies for I don't know, dental practices. I may have just said that, or construction firms. So you can use that piece to focus on your keywords and your SEO, but it's not going to make a massive difference inside your local service ads, because that really is just, it's a relatively cookie cutter ad because there's no copy that goes into it. So that's the trade-off with LSA, is it's not as specific as you may want. You can just choose the service, but that's not going to stop an individual or a business calling, or the industry where they're calling from.
Right. So how long does it take for someone, if they create this account and they're creating these ads, for it to actually go live, or be searchable, for them to figure out like what their timeline might be?
It's an awesome question. Usually I would say 2 to 3 weeks. If you're quick at, you just get it set up and then you put in the information that Google's looking for, about 2 to 3 weeks for Google to verify, and you get your essentially like 5 green check marks before your ad can go live. Okay. After that, then it's just a matter of answering the phone and being very responsive when people call. If you don't answer the phone, Google thinks you're too busy. We're going to send that call to someone else. We're not going to show your ad anymore.
Interesting. So what if somebody is on a call already and it goes over to a voicemail? Is that considered, that's a charge, or you haven't actually talked to them yet? Hopefully they leave a message less than 20 seconds or something, so you're not charged. But like, what happens really in that situation where you couldn't answer the call because you're already on with another call at some point, and
yeah.
Like
that
to get
happens. That happens. Best case scenario, you have someone else in the office who can pick up that phone that's in queue. You have a team in place that can pick up those calls so you're not missing them. AI works really well for inbound calls now. If people aren't using that as like an inbound receptionist for their firm, it's come a long way in a short amount of time. We're testing that out right now with a couple of clients, and I'm beyond shocked at how real the voice sounds and how well of a job it does. So you'll never miss a call with that. But yeah, if they don't leave a call, you're going to get a notification you have a missed call. Call them right back. You're usually not charged for missed calls. So then if you call them right back and get a hold of them, you have an opportunity to convert a lead that you didn't pay for, which is always a bonus.
Right. So obviously business owners are going to want to track the success of this too. So can you talk about maybe the metrics they should be using to monitor how successful these ads are?
Yes, it depends on what they're looking for to track, right? But you can see inside the local service ads dashboard how many inbound calls you're getting. And as long as you're keeping your notes diligent, you can push all of those calls into a CRM. Like you can get pretty technical with how you want to do things, but at its core, as long as you're leaving detailed notes inside the LSA platform on that inbound call and you update who the person was with their name and email, and you fill in your notes, this was a deal closed, this wasn't. I would say that's the most important thing to look at is how many proposals are you getting sent out, how much cash is getting collected compared to what you're spending. Keeping your cost per call, and this varies depending on where you are in the US as well, but looking to be within that $70 to $100 range, obviously lower the better, but that's what we've seen in a lot of different markets. And what else for metrics? I would say kind of just really making sure you're tracking the level, like the quality of the conversations. And are people calling in for what you can offer? And are you getting that back to Google so you keep improving your ad performance?
Right. So do you like have any idea of like how long that an ad is even live before someone really is like seeing it and able to call? Is it as soon as it's like actually live, it could pop up as the number one, or it might take a while like to actually kind of be there because there's other people that have had ads for a while? Like, what does that look like in terms of that timeline?
It depends on the market and how competitive of an area you're in. Ways to improve your ad visibility is the 3 R's. So your responsiveness of answering the phone when people call, reviews. It's not always about who has the most reviews on Google. It's how consistently you're getting reviews. So if you're getting new reviews every week, you're much better off even at like 10 or 15 reviews than the firm who might have 50 but hasn't had one in a year. And then the last thing is radius. It's local service ads. You can't be in Boston and trying to target people in LA. You can't even really target out of state. Ideally, again, depending on how large of a place you're in, about a 1 to 2 hour driving radius. If you're in Manhattan, I wouldn't recommend going an hour driving radius. I would keep it really tight. The closer, because Google's tracking the IP address of where someone's physically calling you from and where your office is registered. That's what they're looking for in regards to radius. So those are things to keep in mind when setting up your campaign to be successful. And sorry, what was the other piece of your question? I've been rambling on now.
That's why, I mean, I was just curious in terms of like when it goes live, like how quickly would it be seen versus, if someone's been on there for a bit, or things like that.
Again, it all comes down to the market, how other people have their ads set up. Maybe someone else has their ads only displayed from 8 to 10 Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So if yours is 8 to 8 every day of the week, like you could be showing up right away and get those calls. We see calls pretty quick when ads are finally turned on, which is really nice.
Right. And you did mention radius. Some people might be saying, well, I can really serve people anywhere, so they don't have to be local. But in this case, for this particular ad, it's not that you can't have people from wherever, but you're trying to attract your local community basically for your services.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Otherwise, look into pay-per-click, look into Facebook ads, look into outreach on LinkedIn at a national or multi-state level.
Mhm.
Generally, the larger you're casting your net, the more expensive it is because you're trying to capture more people.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
Mhm.
But yeah, local service ads, anyone can attract, unless you're in a very small area. Even then, you could still attract a lot of local business just by
Mhm.
utilizing local service ads on a pay-per-call model.
Mhm. Perfect. Well, this has been informative, and I would just love to ask if you have an offer that you would like to share with our listeners, and how can they connect with you if they want more information?
Yeah, so I would love to have a conversation with anyone who's interested in maybe hearing a little bit more about how they can grow their business online, increase their digital presence, whether that's through generating leads, improving their sales process, just getting more exposure through reviews, more organic traffic. They can schedule a call with us at www.92media.com. So NINETWO media.com. Or feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on there every single day.
Perfect. Well, thank you, James, for being a guest on my show and talking on this subject. It's actually something I hadn't heard of specifically, LSAs. I've heard of ads and, of course, Google, pay-per-click, and all of that too. So I'm sure listeners will also be very happy that you shared this tip with them. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And to the listener, if you enjoyed today's topic and you want to hear additional information, you can find access to exclusive content in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in today. Would you please share this episode with those you know and leave a review on your favorite platform? And if you find our show informative, would you consider being a financial sponsor to help me continue my mission to educate business owners? A link is located in the episode description, and no amount is too small. I'd really appreciate your support. If you are interested in connecting with our guest and receiving the offer they had to share, a link to our resource page is in the show notes. Finally, if you have any bookkeeping or payroll needs, reach out to us at 310-534-5577 or contact@abandp.com. My team and I are eager to assist you. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.